So we homeschooled year round with a 6 week on, 1 week off schedule, and 6 weeks off in the summer and 6 weeks off for Christmas for over 15 years. And yet we are no longer homeschooling year round. And today I want to tell you why that is. Hi, I'm Mystie Winckler, author of The Convivial Homeschool, Gospel Encouragement for Keeping Your Sanity While Living and Learning Alongside Your Kids. My husband and I are both second-generation homeschoolers who now have 2 graduates and 3 we're still homeschooling. And for most of those homeschool years, we have done a year-round homeschool schedule with 6 weeks on and 1 week off. I've done a video about that schedule before, so you don't want to miss that. But today I want to talk about why we are no longer using this wonderful year-round homeschooling schedule. Grab a basket of laundry to fold and let's dig in. So in the last few episodes, I've already shared about different ways to structure a year-round homeschool schedule and why I think that homeschooling year-round is a great way to prevent homeschool burnout and to stay on track, on mission as a homeschooling mom. And yet here we are, homeschooling 2 high schoolers, a middle schooler, 2 graduates. The year-round homeschooling worked so well for us, and now we're not doing it anymore. The truth is, I still want to encourage people to homeschool year-round and explain how it can work, why it works so well, and help other homeschoolers figure out a homeschool schedule that works for your particular situation. And I'm a big fan of year-round homeschooling, but we don't do it anymore. And I want to be honest and open about where we're at now instead of pretending that this is still the homeschool schedule that we're using. You see, about 2.5 years ago, our family moved. We went from the eastern part of Washington State, which is kind of a desert-like area, and then we moved over to North Idaho, where it's much colder. And I didn't even realize before just how much the weather played into homeschooling year-round for us. Because where we were at before, May was a beautiful spring month with the greatest weather. And by the time July rolled around, we were mostly inside, draped around an air conditioner. So if we were going to be inside with air conditioning in July and August, I figured we might as well be doing schoolwork. We could go outside and meet friends at the park or do something in the morning, but after lunch, it was too hot to be outside. So we'd be back at home and we could do some of our studies. And we were all on board with that because it bought us our super long Christmas break from Thanksgiving to New Year's. So our school year really never felt too long because of those breaks that we took every 6 weeks and then the super long Christmas break. And then when May rolled around, the weather was gorgeous. Others were still in school, so we had the parks to ourselves, and it was the perfect time for us to wrap up our school year. Now, here in Moscow, where we are, May is like practically still winter. There was a frost. Our grass was glistening in May, and my windshield wiper had to be scraped a few times in May. By the time July rolls around, it's finally summer. And we aren't tired of the warmth. We want to go out and take advantage of the sunny, beautiful days that are happening in July and August. So we don't want to be doing school inside. But on top of the difference of weather and seasons, which does factor into the school year plan, the ages of your kids also matters. And we still homeschooled year-round when my older two were in high school. But by the time they were 16, they did community college full-time. So they really weren't a part of our homeschool, and they followed the community college schedule. They weren't on our year-round homeschool schedule. They started basically doing their own thing. At 16, they went to the community college. They weren't doing anything for their education with me at home at all. And on top of that, they also took jobs. So they were living their own schedule while the rest of us kept our year-round homeschool schedule trucking. Now, however, the two older ones are off living adult lives, and I still have 3 at home. We're in a different state, so we don't have that dual enrollment program. I'm actually homeschooling a 16-year-old for the first time. And the school calendar makes a bigger difference because they are doing some online classes that are still at home. So it's still affecting our homeschool. It's not like my older boys at the community college where they were just off somewhere else. As part of our homeschool day, they are on the online school's school calendar. Plus, the town that we're in now is a college town, big time college town. There are 3 colleges in this small town. And so the school calendar actually affects the whole town in a completely different way than it did my hometown. So the summer activities and the summer town life is totally different than the school year. The opportunities for the kids and the activities that are going on really hinge on whether or not it's school or summer. And so just doing our own independent, completely separate thing isn't really viable anymore in the town and community that we're in, and also with teenagers. It worked great when we were a family unit on our own. We did have another family that used the same homeschool schedule. And so our kids had someone to play with when we were on break, and that worked out wonderfully. It didn't matter that we were out of sync with anyone else in town. But with online classes and extracurricular activities and different things going on in town, and on top of that, the weather, it just doesn't make sense anymore to do our previous year-round homeschool schedule. It worked so well for a super long season of our life, and this is a completely different season of our life that has required all kinds of adjustment. And that includes adjusting our school calendar. So this is just a great opportunity for you then to think about where you are at in your homeschool, in your family, in your community, and recognize that the situation you are in and your children's needs and the things that you're involved in legitimately affect how you structure your homeschool and the different choices you make. Don't just listen to a friend go on and on about a curriculum or a schedule that she loves, and definitely don't just listen to someone on the internet, myself included, and think, oh, I should do whatever that person is doing. I can cut and paste. I'll follow her example. And because it works for her, it will then work for me. And then when it doesn't work, you assume something is wrong with you, right? When probably it just doesn't fit where you are at. And you need to take those different plans and ideas and adjust accordingly. I like the Charlotte Mason phrase where she says, mix with brains. Take other people's ideas and examples and then mix with your own brain that knows your kids and your situation. Don't feel bad about not using the curriculum that someone else loves or the homeschool schedule that someone else loves. Honestly examine your own family and your own needs and choose what your family needs right now. No guilt. And the other moral of this story is even when something works for a very long time, there is likely going to come a time when it doesn't work. That's the nature of life and why we need to keep iterating. We need to see where we're at. And we need to understand that life and people and circumstances change. And so our plans and expectations and the way that we organize will also have to change. That's not a problem. It's really a design feature and not a bug. We don't figure out something that works and then make a lifelong vow to never change. We also don't have to fall into grief or despair when our circumstances change, and so the way we structure things has to change. In fact, growth is change. So it makes sense that our arrangements, the way we structure things, what we choose to do and not to do, will change and adapt as ourselves and our children grow. We have to be flexible when it comes to how we organize things, how we structure our day, our week, our year. We don't make plans that last for a lifetime. We have to be willing to grow and adapt. In fact, flexibility has been our topic of conversation within Convivial Circle this month. And so after I'm done talking about year-round homeschooling, I am also going to share some episodes with clips of the seminars where I've been talking about flexibility, because it applies no matter what phase of life or what vocations you have. We have to be flexible, which is neither so rigid we're always stressed out, and it's also not so unstructured that we are blown about by every wind of change. Flexibility is staying rooted and grounded in a purpose, and yet being able to change, bend, and flex to keep that position while staying in one piece and continuing to grow and be strong. More on that coming up, so be sure to subscribe and stay tuned. You know, the summer or a break week is a great time to assess how you're doing, to connect where you're at with your reason for homeschooling. And I have a free resource that will help you do just that. It's a homeschool audit. It will help you figure out where you are really at, where each of your kids are at, and how to move forward in the summer, in the school year, maybe even just the next term of your school year, in a way that will serve your family and your current reality. Cookie cutter plans just don't work. You have to take time to assess where you are at. So grab my free guide to do a homeschool audit for yourself. You'll find the link in the show notes, or you can go to simplyconvivial.com/audit. That's simplyconvivial.com/audit to get your free guide.